told you it was love. They convinced you it was normal. They made you believe the problem was you. But somewhere beneath the confusion, the self-doubt, the endless explanations that never quite made sense, you knew something was wrong. This is where we stop pretending. This is where we examine what they never wanted you to see. The patterns that controlled you, the systems that protected them.
There are a million reasons people start therapy. A breakup, burnout, a new job, whatever your reason, there is one place to start. Grow Therapy meets you where you are with support that actually sticks. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Visit growtherapy.com/start now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/start now. growtherapy.com/start now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Okay, does this happen to anybody else? You sit down with a juicy QPC, some McNuggets, and those golden fries from McDonald's. Then you take a long sip of your Sprite because you can still hear your mama saying, "Don't fill up on that drink before you eat your food." But you're grown now, so you do what you want.
Share and share alike with the 20-piece McNuggets from McDonald's for just $6. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
If you find yourself constantly scanning the moods of your spouse, children, or family members multiple times an hour, asking yourself silently, is he upset? Did that comment land wrong? You're not imagining it. According to Dr. Kat Gordon's study, following over 1,000 women, many perform nearly 90 emotional check-ins daily compared to just a dozen by men. This isn't about innate empathy. This is about an unpaid, invisible, emotional management job that you've absorbed to keep the peace or avoid conflict. Welcome back to the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Podcast. I'm Lynn, your host. Today we're talking about something that might explain why you feel exhausted even when you're doing everything right. Sleeping enough, eating well, exercising. Your exhaustion isn't physical, it's cognitive, and sleep won't fix it. This relentless monitoring triggers hyperactivation in your brain, specifically your mirror neuron system. While men's brains activate during interaction, then disengage, yours never turns off. You're running elevated stress hormones like cortisol from perpetual surveillance. Your brain is literally working overtime, and nobody sees it. In families where you are the scapegoat, or in adult relationships with someone who refuses accountability, this emotional labor hits you harder. The person who scapegoated you trained you to believe their moods were your responsibility. Every silent glare, every shifting tone, every subtle avoidance became data you had to process and respond to. You might recognize this pattern. You're doing your visible job, working, parenting, managing the household, while simultaneously running this invisible second job. You're constantly calibrating. How's his energy today? Did I say something wrong? Should I approach this differently? Each check-in fragments your focus. Each assessment pulls cognitive resources away from what you're actually trying to accomplish. The brutal truth is that this isn't natural empathy. This is learned hypervigilance from being held responsible for someone else's emotional state. When you grew up as the family scapegoat, you learned that everyone else's comfort came before yours. If dad was in a bad mood, somehow it was your fault. If mom was stressed, you needed to fix it. If your sibling was upset, you were expected to smooth things over. This pattern doesn't magically disappear when you leave that family system. You carry it into romantic relationships, friendships, even work environments. You find yourself assigned the responsibility for everyone else's emotional states, while your own needs get pushed aside. The person who trained you to do this emotional labor never had to reciprocate. They didn't spend their day wondering if you were okay, checking your mood, or adjusting their behavior based on your emotional state. That was never their job. It was always yours. What's particularly damaging is how this invisible work gets dismissed. When you're exhausted from managing everyone's emotions all day, you're told you're too sensitive or overthinking. But research shows women performing this emotional monitoring experience, exhaustion levels nearly 4 times higher than those who aren't constantly calibrating other people's moods. Your brain literally can't rest. While you're trying to focus on a work project, part of your brain is processing whether your partner seems distant. While you're having a conversation, you're simultaneously reading micro expressions and adjusting your approach. While you're trying to relax, you're subconsciously monitoring the emotional temperature of everyone around you. This explains why you might feel more tired after being around certain people, even when nothing obviously stressful happened. Your nervous system was working the entire time, scanning for threats, managing reactions, preventing conflicts before they started. The person who made you responsible for their emotions benefits from this arrangement. They get to be inconsistent, moody, or difficult while you do the work of managing the fallout. They never have to develop emotional self-regulation because you're constantly regulating for them. Here's what's important to understand. This exhaustion isn't because you're weak or lacking. Your brain has been hijacked to work overtime managing emotions that aren't yours to manage. The fatigue you feel is real cognitive load from running this invisible surveillance system all day long. You weren't born this way. You were trained this way. And recognizing this pattern is the first step toward understanding why traditional self-care advice, more sleep, better nutrition, exercise, doesn't touch this particular kind of exhaustion. The person who conditioned you to perform this emotional labor convinced you it was natural, that you were just more caring or intuitive. But caring doesn't require constant monitoring. Intuition doesn't demand perpetual surveillance. What you're doing is emotional management for someone who refuses to manage themselves. This pattern keeps you small and exhausted while they remain comfortable and unaccountable. Every moment you spend monitoring their mood is a moment you're not fully present in your own life, pursuing your own goals, or even just resting your overworked nervous system. So here's your reflection question. How often do you notice yourself silently monitoring someone else's mood in a day? And how has this invisible job shaped the exhaustion and hypervigilance you carry from being made responsible for things that were never yours to fix? This is Lynn, and this has been another episode of the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Podcast. I'll see you in the next one. Visit our website at movingforwardafterabuse.com for articles, resources, and more support on your recovery journey.
What am I doing to make sure I get the maximum out of whatever years I've got?
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to close that gap. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more zeroing in on the one you'll actually end up calling home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This work is hard, really hard. Questioning everything you were taught, seeing systems that were invisible, sitting with truths that change how you see the world. It's exhausting and overwhelming sometimes. There's no timeline for this, no right way to process it. We've gone daily now because these conversations matter. Subscribe so new episodes land automatically when they drop.